So, our job for today is to figure out how the economy works. How do people get jobs? How do all these things fit in together? We're putting all the pieces together today. First, before we do that, though, we're going to review a couple things and make sure that we're on top of everything. This is the same kind of stuff that's going to be in our Do Now because we're going to have a quiz on Friday that tests our knowledge of all of economics. So, I want to make sure that we have that knowledge to do well on that quiz. So, first one is supply and demand. Remember those laws of supply and demand? When there's less supply, then prices are going to be higher. Like, remember when there was just one Snickers, the price was really high. But then when there's more supply, then prices get lower. Like when I brought out the whole box of Snickers, then the price went down. Same thing or the opposite thing for demand. Less demand means low prices because nobody wants it, and more demand means high prices. So because everyone wants it. So try these couple questions, see what you do, how you do on the laws of supply and demand. Next section, this is what we did yesterday, money, barter, and currency. You've got those three definitions right there. Check out these questions, make sure you get 100. So back to our topic for today. How does the economy work? So there are on your sheet, you have a whole diagram that has a series of things. We're going to go through those and I'll explain how that works. So if you think about the beginning of the economy, that starts with how people decide how to spend their money. Right? People say what to buy, they've got all this money in their hands, and then they decide where to spend that money. So then businesses are the second part of that. People spend their money at businesses, but businesses are selling things based on what people want. So it's really the consumer who's deciding what these businesses are going to sell. The consumer is also deciding what businesses what prices they're going to sell at. All of those things are based on what the people want and what they want to spend their money on. And then you have banks. Banks are loaning people money to start businesses. So if you know that people are going to spend money on a certain thing, you can get money from a bank to start your business. Tomorrow we're going to be looking at starting our own businesses and how that works. And you're going to need a bank to do that. Last, you got the government, and it's the government's job to make sure that everybody follows the rules. Because otherwise you'd have some companies who wouldn't follow the rules and would kick other companies out of business, so on and so forth. But the government's job is to make sure that each of those companies is fair and follows the rules. So check out these questions, see if you can get these. I hope you took your notes on your page because if you did, then they're really easy. All right, now on your page you have a couple vocabulary words. Write these down as I go through and talk about them. First one is the word consumer. The consumer is someone who buys something, aka a customer. The counterpart to that is a producer. And a producer is someone or some company who makes something. So like Ford is a producer, Nike is a producer. Anybody who's making something is a producer. And producers sell things to consumers. Last is profit. Profit is the amount of money that a company gains. And this is important for our context today because profit is not every dollar that a company earns. It's more complicated than that. And it has a lot to do with whether or not a company stays in business, whether or not they can survive. So let's look at why do businesses fail. Companies go out of business when their expenditure is higher than their revenue. Remember, revenue is how much a company makes, and expenditure is how much they spend. Revenue is different from profit because profit is how much they make on top of that. Revenue is all the money that they get, but then they also have to spend money. What's left over is their profit. But if they spend more than they make, then they're going to go out of business. So the big question is, why can't companies just raise prices? Why not? And the reason is that because in a market economy, companies compete on prices. I put this picture here as a perfect example of competition. You've got two gas stations, one here and one here. One of them costs $1.09 a gallon, and one of them costs $1.04 a gallon. So if you were driving by here, where would you go? Where would you stop? Of course, you would stop at the cheaper one. It's the same gas. So they're competing on prices. So this one is going to get all the business, and that one's going to go out of business unless they lower their prices. You can see the same thing in gas stations all over New Orleans, all over the city. You can see it in corner stores. You can see it in the competition between McDonald's and Burger King. All these companies do this. They're trying to offer the lowest prices so people will buy their stuff. So if they raise their prices to make more money, then they just go out of business because nobody shops there. So check out on your paper. You've got this little girl right here. She's still trying to sell her beach umbrellas for $20 per hour. See if you can figure out on that box next to her, design your own business that would put her out of business. And then the big questions are, who is this good for? Right? If this competition that's bringing prices down, who is helped by that competition? Who likes that competition? And then who doesn't like that competition? Who does it hurt? So try these next few questions. See if you understand that concept of competition. There are a few other things that a market economy makes sure happens in addition to lower prices. So when you have that competition between things in a market economy, between businesses, then that results in higher quality goods too. They're also competing on quality. They're competing on their service. So if one restaurant has really bad service and one restaurant has good service, it's going to win. And they're also competing on choice. So they're going to try to offer you the best choice of products. That's a lot of what Walmart does. They try to offer you the best choice, the best prices to make sure that people will come to their stores. All right, so now read the passage at the bottom of your sheet and answer that question in rage format. And when you're finished, then go to bit.ly/DTA market to share your thoughts. Thanks.